They are the shaykhs and they are the guides of the Naqshbandiya order, and that we're not a shaykh and not a guide, and asking to enter Allah's oceans of mercy. Always a reminder for myself, and always speaking first always to myself, and if anyone takes any benefit, alhamdulillah, that Mawlana Shaykh always reminding that there are two types of guidance in life. Those that are spiritually guided, enlightened people who inspire within us the desire to achieve realities upon the soul, dress upon the soul, and to move towards our heavenly destination. And the other type of advice, which is the majority of advice from you can't say non-enlightened, is also from good people, but they are not the same as spiritual masters. That the conquering of the ego and the opening of faith allows the guidance towards humanity, that move towards your spiritual reality, move towards that which is eternal and leave that which is perishable. Focus is always then upon the soul and less focus upon the body and the bodily need, because the body perishes and goes to the dirt. All that's achieved for the body will be wasted. It's used for the 70 years, 80 years, 90 years. After 70 there's not much fun in whatever you've achieved anyways. They focus within the reality of the soul to achieve that which is eternal and the dressing and the blessings of guidance. The other type of advice in life then leads us away from that which is eternal, and that guidance has to do with the body and the physicality, physical desires and physical achievements. Spiritual advice, you have nothing to lose. Spiritual advisors come and advise, they give nisa, they give teachings and guidance, and they ask you that this material world with its money, with its desires, with all of its achievements is not going anywhere. And at any time if you don't like your spiritual path, you don't want at some time to achieve that reality upon your soul, the drugs are always waiting, the nightclubs are always open, the shops and stores for purchasing are always available. Means that material world is not going anywhere and you will not miss anything. So their spiritual advice has little to no consequence. You follow it, if you grow from it, alhamdulillah. You find benefit within it, alhamdulillah. If at any time you say, maybe I don't want to be and I don't want to dress the reality of my soul, all those desires and vices are open 24 hours and you can run to them and you've lost nothing. The material people, the non-enlightened guidance, their guidance is always towards material desires. Leave that which is eternal because it's not understood. They use the faculty of the mind instead of the reality of the heart. And they advise that, why are you moving towards that which we don't see and what we don't understand? Why don't you choose what is available, is the word tangible, that you can touch and that you can feel. Means they advise us to leave that which is eternal and what benefits the soul and choose the material. And the consequences of that guidance is that you lose everything. It's not the same. Somebody gives advice that is not a spiritual advisor, you hear their advice and their advice is always, why do you have to do that? Why do you have to pray like that? Why do you have to give like that? Why do you have to be of service like that? Why do you have to participate like that? And all that guidance that they are giving is leaving that which is eternal and asking us to choose that which is perishable, the material world. And the biggest loss is the loss upon the soul. That if the Divine opens a grant in which we find ourselves to be a seeker, means it's not so cheap, it's not so easy where anybody out there on the street finds themselves to be a seeker of the Divine. It's what we believe is a ni'mat. Means the Divine throws a love within the heart of the Divine Presence. If that love is not in the heart, there's no way that you'd find yourself seeking to sit in a circle chanting. If that love isn't there, you wouldn't seek out that reality. So the Divine throws that love within the soul that, seek me out, come towards me. I'm providing an opening, an opportunity, a grant, a lottery. Take it and move to my reality, to my oceans of power, that which is eternal, and I grant you a grant that you can never imagine is eternity. Da'im wa da'im, that I grant you a light that will make your light to be eternal and you will eternally benefit from that reality. Means then this is a huge difference. Guidance comes and says, choose that which is eternal and move towards the oceans of faith, and everything else says that leave that which is eternal and choose the material world. And every step you move towards the material world, you have moved a step away from your eternal reality, until you step and step and step and find one day that door is shut. It's not like the material world where you can leave it and any time come back to it. It's virtually impossible. If you step away and step away and step away, that door shuts and you find the heart of certain people, because we deal with people all the time, that when it shuts so much and they've stepped so far away, the opening has gone and they no longer find any interest in moving towards the reality of their soul. They find no interest in anything to do with faith, and as if they have walked away from that opening, and that is a tremendous loss. And Divine is saying, you have sold yourself for a small price. You chose that which is temporary and perishing, and in Divine Presence looks like garbage. And you've chosen to stay within the prison, and the confines of the prison, the filthiness of the prison, and the gate that was open for you to escape and to move into my Divinely Presence, you have chosen to walk away from that. And then one day that door shuts and that gate is closed, and that servant no longer finds any desire to move towards Divine Presence. And these two oceans are so different that the one not in the ocean of light understands nothing about that path. The one not in that ocean tells you that, why do you have to do that? Why do you have to be of service? Why do you have to take less money? Why do you have to sacrifice yourself? Why do you have to control your desires? Because none of that ocean of faith makes any sense. They don't see the miracle, nor do they feel and understand with the foresight to witness that miracle. And everything that they think about is choosing from the material world. The people of guidance, they see with their heart. They see the promised land. I think with Martin Luther King, that I have a dream and I might not get there, but I have seen it. Means enlightened individuals, their heart is open, they see that paradise, they see that reality, and every step of guidance they give to us is teaching us, get closer, you are moving towards your reality, you are moving towards miraculous oceans. Where if in your life you put your focus on the Divine will turn Divine focus onto you. Divine says, if you focus on me, worship me, serve me, pray to me, give everything of your being to me, I will put everything onto you of my nazar, of my gaze, of my divine majestic energies. Realities. If you focus on me, I will focus on you, and that becomes the miraculous ocean. Our lives and Sufi teachers, they live that reality. They live their whole life being trained, focus on the Divine. If you have work, work for the Divine, and the Divine will pay you from ways you can't even imagine. Eat my food and I will nourish you. Work for me and I will pay you. Serve me and I will grant you, raise you, dress you, bless you and lift you towards your reality. And then material people come and material guidance is that, why do you have to do that? Who's going to provide for you? Go out and provide for yourself. Go out and struggle and take care of yourself, and the whole weight of this world will fall upon you. And as you struggle to provide for yourself, then you'll have to provide your housing, your food and every other expense. And Divine says, then if you focus upon yourself, there's no need for me to focus upon you. You are taking care of it yourself. Let's step back and see what you can do. Completely different oceans. One challenging the Divine Presence. And enlightened masters teach us, don't challenge the Divine Presence. Don't try to hold this dunya with your hands. It's so heavy that it crushes everybody who moves towards it. Everyone thinks they can master this material world and they'll handle it and they'll find the balance. And as soon as they begin to lift it, its entire creation is to destroy us. It's not going to be in competition with Divine. It's made to challenge us. Divine says, I created this life like a dazzling allurement. If you choose it, it begins to crush you. And you find that it comes and teaches you, you work hard. Come work for me, work hard, struggle and strive and make money and work hard and work hard and work hard, and then with that money pay this, pay all these expenses, get all these bills, put all these credit cards, and at the end one day when you're beaten and worn and completely dissolved, you can retire somewhere and enjoy your time. And spiritual masters come and teach that why you have to do all that? Why you don't just focus on the Divine? And Divine wants nothing more than ibadat, that worship me, pray to me, chant to me, praise me, and I provide for you from ways you never imagined, and your sustenance begins to come towards you. Your rizq, your housing, your home, your food everything be provided. The more you can go into that reality, then look at their lives and they are the example of that reality. The more you focus on the Divine, the more the Divine focuses upon us. The more we focus upon ourselves, the more we find ourselves distancing ourselves from the Divine. And this dunya is becoming more and more heavy. This dunya becoming more and more difficult, and the distance between these two guidances are so huge that it's unimaginable. That the guidance of Divinely guided, light, enlightened souls tell us, drop your material desires, make your life to have a purpose, and that only purpose should be serving the Divine Presence. If you can move into that ocean, give everything else up other than the service. And then all the material desires and the material guidance comes and teaches us, no, that's what's making you sick, that's what's making you tired, that's what's making you poor. Because you helped them, you are now poor. You helped them, you are now without energy, you are feeling sick, you don't have time for yourself. Every type of attack is going to come from the ego to stop that process. We pray that we are clever enough to understand that as much in life we can focus on the Divine going to open. And the opening is going to require us to jump through loops, jump over obstacles and move steadily towards that Divine reality. Then to seek refuge in all guidance other than Divinely enlightened guidance towards light. That if the person's not from that reality, not dressed with that reality to give guidance, then know everything that they're going to talk about is from a material perspective. And then the material perspective is going to be extremely opposite than your Divine reality. Because no faith, if they can't see the miracle, why would they ask you to be walking in it? When Sayyidina Isa came out to his companions, they were on a ship in stormy ocean, and he came out to them and said, take my hand and walk on water with me. Because they are walking on water, they are walking on Divine grace. Everything of what they do is based on God's miracle, that God works in miraculous ways. Means that as soon as we take that path and take that step, then we must know that our lives are going to be miraculous. And if they're not walking on water, then everything about what they're thinking is that what you're doing is crazy. Your effort, your commitment, your participation is a waste of time. If you spend 20 hours a day working in a law firm and never seeing anyone, they think, this is fantastic, you're making so much money, that's wonderful, you're committed. If you work 20 hours a day for God to be of service, serving in a soup kitchen, serving in a zawiyah, serving in a mosque, they think you've lost your mind. That why would you do that? Why would you give up this material world in the pursuit of what they deem to be nothing, nothingness? You are chasing a bucket that's empty because they don't see the gold. We pray that we understand and that our hearts open and move deeper into that reality as this dunya becomes heavier and heavier and more difficult.
Oh people, come to Him, come to Him, come to the way of Sultan Rabia, most